CBS Sports HQ is presented by Belfour Property Restoration, and this game was never in doubt. Tyler Warren going 48 yards for the touchdown. That's the longest rushing touchdown by a Penn Stater over the past 2 seasons. Tyler Warren, have a day, kid. The numbers are eye-popping. One of the best tight ends in the country, 11 touches, 190 total yards, 2 total touchdowns as Penn State rolls with ease. Welcome into the Big Ten on CBS Postgame Report, presented by Belfour Property Restoration, here with 2-time Super Bowl champ Bryant McFadden. And Penn State dominates Purdue 4-0 on the road, 9-1 on the season. The only loss coming to Ohio State. Tyler Warren just jumps off the screen every time we see him, B-Mac.
The best tight end in college football. He's really earned a lot of money with his production this season for Penn State. And you look at what he did today. These are the things he can do, Hakeem, when you get him the ball. And watching this game, it was hard for me to not think back to that phantom drive against Ohio State. Inside the 5, the guy who got you down there did not see one opportunity to either carry the football or catch the football. Well, I guess they learned from their mistakes, because in today's matchup, he was featured mightily against Purdue, and he delivered the goods. My goodness, man, this is an outstanding player, man. Tyler Warren is one of the best tight ends that I've seen in quite some time.
First player with 125 receiving yards, a receiving touchdown, 50 rushing yards, and a rushing touchdown in a game this season. And that 48-yard run was the longest rushing touchdown by an FBS tight end this season. Harold Fannin Jr. over at Bowling Green, Tyler Warren, Colston Loveland. Those are really your top 3 tight ends. You can make some arguments for some other guys. Brant Keithy out of Utah. There's a lot of good tight ends in this upcoming draft class. But this kid does it all. I mean, when you see what he does, carrying the football, catching the football, he can throw passes too. And he can block, which is what every NFL coach, and you know,
they love that.
NFL coach loves that.
Yeah, he's not a liability in any phase offensively for your said team. And the thing that I love about Tyler, he is an old school tight end that can give you the updated adjustments as well. He can put his hand in the dirt, play at the end of the line of scrimmage. He's not a liability when it comes to running the football. He can run routes out of a 3-point stance like old school tight ends can do. Or he can split out as they split in and give you quality sound route running as well. So he's a do-it-all player, man. He's a football player that happens to play the tight end position. And like I said, he is the best playmaker for Penn State. Good things happen when you find a way to get number 44. The football, they found a way today, and he delivered.
49-10 is the final as Purdue. Well, for Purdue, they've lost 9 in a row. And just a rough season for Ryan Walters and the Boilermakers as they come up short. 49-10, Penn State 9-1 on the season. Look, they run the table, and they basically are a lock for the playoff. Right? They're at Minnesota next week, and then home against Maryland.
Yeah, I don't see anything happening with Penn State not getting into the playoffs, especially if they win their final 2 ball games of the season. This was an outstanding year outside of that one blemish at home against Ohio State. They've taken care of their business. They have not played with their food, and because of that, they control their own destiny.
All right. Indeed they do, as you take a look at their remaining schedule, and there is a path to the Big Ten title game. Here's what would have to happen. Penn State would have to win its final 2 games at Minnesota and Maryland. Ohio State would need to beat Indiana next week, and then Ohio State would lose at home against Michigan. That would give Penn State a path to the Big Ten title game against the presumptive team that's already locked in, which would be Oregon. They can win. They can get a berth tonight with a win over Wisconsin. If they can make that happen, they would already be into the Big Ten championship. Get back out to West Lafayette, welcoming Gary Danielson on the call. And Gary, I know it was good to be back in your old stomping grounds. Unfortunately, the Purdue Boilermakers get stomped here against Penn State. And we've talked about Tyler Warren all season, Gary. This kid just jumps off the screen. What's your takeaway from this game?
You know what I love about the Penn State offense and what Andy Kotelnicki is doing with it is they're making the defense kind of guess. It's almost like a deck of cards out there. They don't know what card he's going to pull. They know for sure that number 44 is going to be involved, but they don't know where or when it's going to happen. They just know somehow this offense is going to revolve around 44. I think that's the first part of it. The second part of it is they got two high-end running backs that if you don't stop the run on them, they're just going to pick you apart slowly. And I think the advancement of Drew Allard. I mean, that way they're built now. They're built like a professional team. You know, if you got an NFL team, you've got a tight end, a quarterback, and a running back, you can pretty much name your score. And that's what they're doing right now.
Yeah, Drew Allard, just 2 incompletions the entire game, 247 yards and 3 touchdowns. When you look at this Penn State, clearly one of the top teams in the country, what's your assessment of this roster now with only 2 games to play? And, of course, you're going to see them again next week on the road at Minnesota on CBS.
All right, number 1, well coached. Bringing in 2 coordinators. Tom Allen on defense. I think he's gotten comfortable with this team. Manny Diaz, the defensive coordinator from a year ago, high-level defensive coordinator. But Tom has kind of got this team under his kind of coaching arm right now, and he understands how to utilize his talent up front. 3 pass rushers up front, at least, on the field all the time. I think an above-average secondary. I would not say elite like maybe at Ohio State or even Oregon, but good enough. And then on offense, the only question mark I have is they do not have a high-end elite wide receiver. That's the only thing they're missing.
Well, they got Tyler Warren. He's doing it all, as Gary Danielson has seen him up close and personal. Going to see him again next week on the road at Minnesota. Gary, thanks for the time here on CBS Sports HQ.
Yeah, my pleasure.